You know what's funny about that screen in the background? Is you think about it, like, when is that useful? Like, if you're in the stadium watching, are you going to turn and look at that screen? Like, it's going to be at kind of an odd angle. The only case where it would be like an ideal angle is if you're sitting directly across from it, which is where the perspective of the camera is. But in that case, you can already see the stage, right? You might argue, well, you can't see it that well. Maybe it's like, it's hard to tell who's doing what, like if you're watching like football or whatever, like what player was that? It's like, I mean, like there's some context clues, you know, like, oh, well, they can't both be Tom Brady, but like, whatever. Anyway, point is, you could argue, okay, like that would be, because it zooms in more than like the camera that like the viewer camera is looking at. So you could argue like, all right, okay, if you're sitting behind, maybe it would be useful to see the fine details of the combat, right? But the issue you're going to run into is that that screen is like double the distance away from the stage. So if you can't see the stage, you're not going to be in a better position if you're looking at the screen, right? I would think. Because it's just going to be even further away. So who does that help? Not to mention that there's like the entrances there, right? Like the sports entrances on either side. I mean, I assume the stairs in the center are like for the stage. Actually, I guess not. Those are like player entrances, right? Because if you were to run down that, you would just fall. You would just fall into the pit, right? That it sounds like a weird animation you would see on YouTube with like ragdoll physics, where like there's just a bunch of football players running out onto the field, but there is no field, and they just kind of flop down, and it's on loop. It plays for like a minute straight. It's just the same like model teetering over the edge and falling down. I guess the logic is probably like, there is a stage there, and the stage that you're on comes out the middle and floats up, and then the other stage sinks down. But that seems kind of dangerous, not gonna lie. And I don't understand how the stage would sink down, because you very clearly on the side got like this, I don't know what you would kind of call it. There's a ledge beneath the audience bleachers or whatever, seats. And so how could it lower down? It would have to retract inwards and then lower down, which at the end of the day seems like a really complicated way to do things for no reason. And it also seems very unlikely. Now, if you had that kind of ledge area and there was like remnants of turf, like you could see like, oh, there's dirt there, oh, there's grass there, like the rest of the stage dipped down, you'd be like, all right, I see what happened. But there isn't. It's just there. So does it pull in and then go down? Why wouldn't you just, if you were going to have it lower, why wouldn't you just have it lower all the way? Because either way, it's a fall hazard. So if you're going to risk the lives of the people watching, why would you also make it more expensive to lower if you don't care about the safety regulations? Just a thought. KK Slider is like one of those like joke internet like how to play this song thing where it's just like slapping random strings, and then it's like the tab is like 1121012 and it's like, oh, okay, if you say it doesn't correspond to what's being played at all. That's what KK Slider looks like right now with that tune going. Although this is a good tune, I like it. It doesn't sound like it's at the rave, which is nice. Makes me want to listen to the Fish Out of Water album by Chris Squire, the bass player for Yes, which everyone knows because of Roundabout, but they're a pretty good band. Chris Squire's solo album is probably the best out of any of them who did solo albums. Not that this is the same thing. Again, this is like the Undertale Goblin thing, where it's like, yeah, it's not the same, but like you get the vibes. There's certain energies that come through the music and kind of go in the brain and go. I don't know. Oh, crikey. Just elbowed the whatever that is. metallic sounding thing I don't think is metal. That's... seems like the kind of thing you'd read in a novel. There's like a mystery going on. And it's like a murder mystery. It's like, this guy died. Let's look around his apartment. They go in, they're like looking around the apartment. What do you see? What did you find anything? And they're digging through for days. They can't find anything. They move the bookshelf, and written in blood behind the bookshelf are 2 words: Ray's sack. And they're like, this is all we have to go off of. The blood matches. We have to find where what happened with this guy. It'd be a good book. I would read it. Actually, I can't even guarantee that'd be a good book. Don't quote me on that, because it might not be. I mean, it's an okay concept, I guess, maybe. I don't even know that, because I haven't read the book. But if the book exists somewhere in the world, which I doubt, but it could, I would say it's more likely to be good than bad, because that's intriguing. That's like, that could be good. I don't know. Especially if it was like, if you had a, if it turned, okay, this is cliche. So if you were taking that concept and you were writing a book, person dies, on the wall in the person's blood is written Ray's sack. What I want to happen is it turns into a cult thing. It's like, oh, there's a cult and their whole thing is chanting Ray's sack, Ray's sack. But that's not a good idea, because that's kind of cliche, I think. Like, I would almost expect that. So you'd have to come up with something a little more clever than that, because especially in like a mystery novel, you don't want to be like, oh, I knew it, Ray's sack is a cult. You don't want, no. So you would have to come up with another explanation for like, oh, what's Ray's sack? I don't know. Could be anything. Except a cult. It's not going to be a cult. You could red herring it and have it like, oh, Ray's sack, there's a cult that goes by that name on the internet. They're on the deep web. Oh, that's scary. And then, but it turns out to be a red herring. There is no Ray's sack cult. It's just a joke. And then it turns out Ray's sack is something else. It's like this guy's name, Ray Sack. And that's like the intended, the person who's murdered was intended to be a message left for the person whose name is Ray Sack. But they don't want to put the person's name, because then the cops will go and be like, hey, are you Ray Sack? There's some blood on the wall on the dead guy, and it says your name. Unless it was supposed to be a framing incident, and the person who did the murder was just wicked dumb. So they're just like, aha, Ray's sack. And it's like not even close. It's just Ray's sack. That could be it. It's stupid, but it's better than a cult. Because as much as I would enjoy the cult, you expect the cult. So is it better to get something that you know is coming that's satisfactory, or is it better to get a new experience? Like if I go to a restaurant, and why do I keep talking about restaurants? I think it's because I want Wendy's. I want Wendy's. Anyway, I want that stupid pretzel thing. To be honest, I've mentioned like restaurants, and I think I've mentioned pretzels as well earlier. Oh. I'm here like way later than I thought I'd be. I thought I'd be gone by the time single started. I have Columbus Day off, so I can just delay anything that I need to get done today until Monday, which is a weird holiday to have off when you think about it. Like Columbus Day, really? What am I gonna do on Columbus Day? What is there to celebrate on Columbus Day? Columbus? Now, if it was Columbo Day, like the detective show, That's a chef's kiss. But as it stands, it's not Columbo Day. I did check Wikipedia, and it said that there's no relation between Columbo and Columbus. I was very disappointed. So it was a very sad night for me when I looked that up. But you need to have the downs before you can have the ups, or you can have both. You know what? Bad advice. That's not true at all. You can vary it up, and that's probably the best way to go about things, because you don't want to get bored. Oh, what's for breakfast today? Plum pudding. What's for lunch today? Plum pudding. What's for dinner today? Plum pudding. What color's your car? Plum. Plum purple. It's like, give me some spice. I want you to own a bright yellow sedan. Don't buy a sports car, because if you have a sports car, what color is my sports car? It's probably a bright color. What happened to cars having bright colors? Everyone's got gray and white and black, which are nice colors, but I want to see like some bright yellow sedans, like some happy sedans. Occasionally I see like a dark, like Sherwood forest green. I'm like, oh, it's nice car. Or like you see like a red, still common, I guess. You know, you see that around. Sometimes blue, navy blue, but I don't even know the last time I've seen like a baby blue car. Why not? It's a good color. It looks fine on cars. Why not? I don't know the last time I've seen a pink car. I don't know the last time. Actually, I do know the last time I saw a purple car. It was a Jeep. I can't say it. I know the last time I saw a purple car. It was in... I think it was in 2018, and it was a Jeep. And the only reason I remember that is because they had a funny license plate, which I would say, but I don't want to give their license plate because that's like personal information, even though it's displayed on your car. Anyway, I don't want to say it, but they had a memorable license plate and had a purple Jeep. And that's the last purple car I saw. You know what I really hate? This is a despise thing. Like, most of the time with like something you hate, it's like, you avoid it, right? Like, ew, coconuts, avoid it. Cool. If there's something on the planet I wish didn't exist, it's that dark earth color that they put on like Subaru SUVs. I don't know why anyone buys that. It's like that tan green color. It looks terrible. It's like the kind of color you'd see on like a rifle, like in Iraq. Like, why do they put that on a car? It doesn't look good. If they just did a nice beige color or a tan color, that'd be one thing. But it's this tan green color. It doesn't even look good. It's a non-committal color, smack dab in the middle of sand and grass. Like, they're on the beach, but they really want to get a tick today, and they can't decide whether or not to go into the field or just to sit on the sand. You need to make up your mind. You can't keep playing this game. You can't live in this delusional world where you paint your SUV in between the sand and the grass. You can put one foot on both. But how long are you going to stand like that before you starve to death? You know what I'm saying? You can't stay there. Those SUVs should not be that color. It's the one color on a car where I've been like, that is not like, oh, well, I wouldn't buy it. That's actively damaging my eyes. That's a bigger concern to me for damaging my eyes than like splashing acetone near them, which says a lot because acetone's not good for your eyes, okay? Don't get it in there. If you're using it, you need to wear safety goggles. You know what you also need to wear safety goggles for? Whenever you see one of those ugly Subaru SUVs on the road with that paint job. It's bad. Bad color. I wouldn't even be opposed to if they did a half tan, half green. like not one color, but like a two-tone. That could be kind of cool. Maybe tan on the bottom. You get like a nice like let's see, if you did like a kind of a darker tan, but not too dark, right? You don't want it to look like tan green, like that ugly dark earth color. If you had a kind of like moderate shade of tan on the bottom, you get like a nice like white pinstripe, not even a pinstripe, like maybe an inch or two thick, let's say an inch thick, goes around the horizontally on the car, and on the top, the second half, like this goes midway through, actually let's say 2/3 up the door, the height of the doors, right? And then on the top, it's green, like a nice earthy green. So you get sand, and you get the grass, and you can have your sandwich and eat it too. And best of all, it doesn't have to be the worst color ever devised to be put on an automobile. So if you ever go to the car lot, don't buy that color. In fact, I would say don't even go to the car lot at all, because there might be one of those color cars there, especially if it's Subaru dealership. I haven't seen any other cars with that color. I've seen plenty of tans, and most of them are fine. But Subaru went and did that color, and it's very bad, not good, horrible. Wouldn't recommend it. Ah, oh, I cannot believe it. I was wrong. That's a first for me. Unbelievable. Well, I'm not going to be playing the lottery tonight. Sorry for not commentating on the game. There's something on the floor here. I'm trying to figure out what it is. It's got a weird font on it. Oh, it's a ramen. It's a ramen wrapper. That's not very exciting. What a shame. He's a good man. You know something that most people don't think about, but that they should, is fisticuffs? Fisticuffs. You're going to sit there and you're going to say, ah, fisticuffs. Really? Like, you don't use the cuff. Let's be real. The only part, you might use the palm, you might use the knuckle. You're certainly using the fist. You ain't using the cuff. It's false advertising. What are you doing? It's all fist, no cuff. Like even in a situation, you have a game like this, with all these creative moves going on. You ever see Wario use his cuff? You ever see Sonic use his cuff? I mean, Sonic's like, maybe he doesn't have a long shirt on. He couldn't even if he wanted to. I ain't seeing anyone using their cuffs. It's all fist. Maybe even some foot, but there isn't any cuff. Ain't ever seen cuff. There should be at least one track on the build that like isn't an electro bopper. It should be like the one weird low percentage chance of on the stage menu you might end up with like the trombone track where it's just like a trombone like going off. That'd be cool. I hope I never finish my build. It's gonna be so messed up. Trying to find tracks and everyone's got all the, like this music, like all this stuff that's wicked appropriate for like a fighting game. All these high energy tracks, and I'm over here like trying to dig through. Oh, who's uploaded BRSTM files? Oh, what old NES games can I put in there that won't get struck down? And I'm like looking through. It's like, ooh, Rygar, there's a good one. That's a good classic one. That's got some good tracks. Do they work in a fighting game? Maybe if they're remixed. I don't think I would put the original tracks in as is. What else? Ghosts and Goblins, I guess. That's pretty good, huh? What else? The game that's literally called Kung Fu. Good name. Good game. The soundtrack's like 2 notes though, so I probably would not put that in there. Elevator Action. It's a good game. I don't even know if there's music in it though. I guess you could put a stage with no music and maybe claim it's from Elevator Action and no one would know whether or not that was true because no one's played that game. But it was pretty cheap on eBay like half a decade ago. It's pretty solid. If you have an NES that's still functional. Neither of mine are. I don't even know what happened. You blow in the cartridge, oh, no luck. Blow in the console, oh, no luck. They shouldn't even be burning out, but they do. It's probably a way to fix it. What else is there? I think the one old game that I can think of, like NES, that had an appropriate fitting track for this is like Rad Racer and like the various remix tracks you can find for Rad Racer. That would work. That'd be fitting. I feel like you could get away with, like you got like Driver for the PlayStation. That game had some good tracks. All the tracks in that game were inspired by like 70s like car chase, like funky tracks. Like, oh, the soundtrack in that was solid. That was a good soundtrack. Alistair Brimble composed that one. Actually, he did a remix or a re-version of it because the old, you can see it on YouTube actually, the software that they used for those old tracks, the MIDI software, which they used some weird soundtrack like software for that stuff for the old games. But they did a version of it recently where it was updated. Pretty good. Not all the tracks are better. I actually like some of the original tracks better, even though. I think that's a nostalgia thing because quality-wise, they're certainly not better. I think it's just, I remember I played this in 1999. Oh, I bet you did. But some of those tracks would work. See, there's a Nintendo character they should have put in this is the guy from Elevator Action. He moves like a snail. all he can do is crouch and shoot and go into doors. So the moveset, you want to talk about an absurd character to put in a Smash game, there you go. Elevator action guy. Rappels onto the roof, vanishes into the building.